afternoon. It's Wednesday here, and it's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. We kind of got a partial government shutdown that is now ended officially as of yesterday, so it's a good sign, but that also means we get some delays here coming up on some government reporting. We'll have those updates for you. Of course, we look at the market watch. What is it doing today? Of course, stocks we're paying attention to, and then the national and local stories you need to know. And I know Amtrak's not a big thing out here, but I was shocked at how much merchandise they have. We're going to talk a little bit about that coming up, end of the show. And if you're interested in that, definitely stick around and check that out, folks. But for now, let's get started with that market watch. It's a tough day today. Yesterday, of course, we do our morning show here on Tuesdays, 7 a.m. Appreciate everybody that watched that yesterday. Record numbers yesterday, watching that morning show live, and even more so on demand as well here at Robat TV and YouTube. So appreciate you very much for doing that. Back to our 11 o'clock today. And when we left you yesterday, the market had just opened. Dow Jones was way up. Everything else was down, and that's kind of continuing the trend today as well. The Dow Jones, though, right now is down 41 points to 49,219. S&P 500, it's down 63 points. Chip stocks are leading this decline here on the S&P 500, led by AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute and stocks we're watching. NASDAQ is down 510 points today as well. Again, tech stocks, there seems to be a big problem. 22,745 right now for NASDAQ, being down 509 points. The Russell 2K, that small cap index, down 52 points also. So obviously a big sell-off day, and then there's Bitcoin. Look at this. People have been complaining about it being at 78,000 here to begin the week. Well, today here on Wednesday, 72,204 for Bitcoin here today, as that continues to have a lot of pressure put upon it here in that cryptocurrency space. It's officially, I was reading this yesterday, earlier in the week when it was at 78. That's pretty much the break-even point for a lot of those big companies that have invested in Bitcoin and put a lot of billions of dollars into Bitcoin. 78,000 was like the break-even line. 72,000 is meaning utter disaster for some of these companies out there that have invested heavily in Bitcoin. So it's going to be interesting to see what the reaction here is, as that's trading at 72,120 as of right now. And as I told you, chip stocks are the problem today here on the market. As we look at this here, but first, Alphabet announces their numbers after the bell today, so the market's waiting for that. Amazon is going to be tomorrow after the bell, so two Magnificent Seven stocks waiting for their announcements here, one today, one tomorrow. And then that leads us to why the market's down today, at least in terms of the S&P 500. Advanced Micro Devices is the first stock that we're going to look at. That's AMD, for those of you that are more familiar with that. 17.35% today down, folks. Big number here as well. Obviously, this is a big one that's weighing on the broader market. And its first quarter forecast underwhelmed a lot of the analysts out there. So, basically, the numbers were good. They were just disappointingly good for everybody out there. Everybody expected more from them. To the point where the CEO had to come out, Lisa Su is her name. She had to come out early this morning and talk to CNBC and kind of defend the results that they had. She did say that the company has seen an increase in demand in recent months. Even said to CNBC, quote, "AI is accelerating at a pace that I would not have imagined," unquote. But then again, results were good in terms of numbers, but disappointing compared to what the expectation level was for AMD. And that's pulling down this market 17.46% down for them right now. And what's it doing? Well, they have other stocks in this chip space also suffering today based off of AMD's results. Broadcom is one that we're going to look at right now as well. Also down today big. Well, it's come back a little bit. It was down 11% in early market trading. It's only down 7.44% right now that we're looking at. The 11% was in pre-market. So you can see a little bit of a recovery, but still down 7%. And then Micron Technology, another chip company in that AMD space, yeah, down 12.65% right now, folks, for them as well, for Micron Technologies. So this whole chip space here is down, affecting the whole market, specifically the S&P 500, tech stocks in general for the whole NASDAQ, affecting everything out there. And we've seen these sell-off days in these types of industries several times here a lot lately as we can continue here at the beginning of 2026. Later on, when we look at some stocks, we're going to come back and look at Super Microcomputer. Now, that's one making some waves. We're going to look at Chipotle, who's had a tough year or two here, at least in terms of the stock market side of things. And then we'll look at Eli Lilly as well. Both of them made announcements yesterday for their quarters as well. So it's going to be a rough Wednesday here, and it was a rough Tuesday as well. So we'll have to keep our eyes on this. When do we get out of this sell off here happening? And, I don't know the next time we're going to have a Fed rate cut anytime soon. So just an update for you. And the reason why I say that, because we're looking for some government reporting out there. We did get the private payrolls report. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And we'll talk about it right now. How about that? That's that ADP private payrolls was released this morning. We'll give you the update on the government one here in just a minute. But private companies added just only 22,000 jobs for the month of January. That number would have been negative had it not been for a large growth in jobs being added in the education and health sector or health services category. 74,000 jobs just in those education and health services category there. So that big addition of 74,000 kept us out of the negative. Well, the total, it was less than the downwardly revised 37,000 increase in December. And then it's even below the consensus forecast, which was 45,000. So about half below that consensus number is what came in at. Disappointing payroll reports here today, and that's also affecting the market. This report, it starts 2026 off, not in a bad note, right? But it's also the same note where 2025 ended. What this is this continues to show that we have a lackluster job market. We have this low fire environment going on as well. And it's just being reinforced with these reports out there that's where we stand. Activities or sectors that had growth, we told you about the education and health services up that 74,000. Well, construction, it rose 9,000. Financial activities rose 14,000 as well. Trade, transportation, and utilities, even leisure and hospitality industries all added about 4,000 jobs to those job reports. But that's obviously when you have a low number, that it isn't what was up, it's what was down. And there's some big numbers down here, folks. Professional and business services, down big, 57,000. The other services category, which encompasses everything, obviously not involved in the other categories, it's down 13,000 jobs. Manufacturing was even down 8,000 with this reporting. All but 1,000 net jobs came from the service sector as well here. So big losses. Yes, there's a big gain in education and health services. Everything else, minimal gain, and then even lots of big losses out there from that side. So if you want to look at the size of companies and where they are as well, companies that are between 50 and 499 workers, they added all the jobs in this thing, right? Small firms, so that's 0 to 50 workers, or 49, I should say. Small firms were flat in job adds or subtractions. Large employers, that's where all the losses were, 18,000 losses for them as well. So, yeah, the medium-sized companies, 50 to 499, had all of the growth. Obviously, if you're going to come at me here, because I do it all the time, is why these numbers not add up? Rounding is the reason why they don't add up to the numbers that you're expecting here, for those of you that did notice that as well. Wage gains, little unchanged from December also. They were staying. If you were staying in your jobs, you saw a growth of 4.5%, which, like I said, is basically the same number from December out there. So a disappointing private payrolls report out there, kind of leading to this question mark and this no hire, no fire environment. I mean, it could be worse, right? We could have a no hire, lots of firing environment here in the business side. But this continues to just hover over the markets. And that's what I mean by we're not sure when the job cuts are coming because we're not seeing huge decreases in employment, and we're not seeing huge increases in job hiring out there. It's just a stagnant reporting out there, kind of a flat reporting with then you add the inflation on top of it. I'm not sure then that we're going to see a Fed rate cut here coming up in the next couple meetings, but something things always change right as we go forward. And here's an update for you as well. The private report came out today. The government shutdown is officially over as of yesterday. And now we do know the January jobs report, it was delayed. It's supposed to be out this Friday. Well, now we know it's what the delay date is going towards. And we're looking at Bureau of Labor Statistics telling us at least that's going to come out February 11th. And that was a big sigh for me because there's a big delay here from the end of this reporting. We have to wait a week for that. Obviously, 5 days later than its original release date. They've released a whole revised schedule. The Bureau of Labor Statistics did. Maybe if we can just stop having government shutdowns, we don't have to worry about these reports, having to be revised late, right? The also going to release the job openings and labor turnover survey. That's coming out on Thursday. It originally was been scheduled for Tuesday of next week, so just a couple days difference there. The Consumer Price Index, another big one, and that one for January, well, it's going to be released on February 13th. Not a big delay there, 2 days later than the original release date as well. So those are the new dates here for these government reports. Nothing majorly delayed. Obviously, this first one, the payrolls report, being delayed 5 days as we're right here as the people just getting back to work here today. But the reports later in the month, just a slight delay at that point, but something to pay attention to. And this story kind of hit me as this could affect some big tech stocks here coming up as well. We got to go all the way over across the pond to France right now. And how many other countries are going to do this? But over in France, they have announced that civil servants, which are their government workers over there, they're going to ditch Zoom and Teams, Microsoft Teams. Yeah, they're going to move into a homegrown video conference system, a local one over there as well. So like right now, soldiers in Austria, they're using open source Office software to write their reports for the military, and they dropped Microsoft Office. Bureaucrats over in Germany, in a German state, they've also turned to free software for their administrative work to get done. So it's not just France. We get this story's garnered around France, but Germans, Austrians, all moving away from the American, right? Google, Microsoft, and those systems, Zoom even, moving forward. And if you go all the way around Europe, governments and institutions are seeking to reduce their use of digital services by U.S. big tech companies. They want to turn to domestic ones for their perspective or even free alternatives to use it. So what they're pushing for is digital sovereignty is what they're calling it. It's gaining attention over there in Europe as the Trump administration does continue to do that, strong posture toward the EU and those countries with tensions around tariffs and other economic tensions out there as well. And don't forget, Greenland has a big part of this because Greenland situation has intensified fears that the big tech companies, in Silicon Valley could be compelled to cut off access to the EU and those countries over there. So concerns about data privacy and worries that Europe is not doing enough to keep up with the United States and those Chinese tech companies. Well, they're also fueling this drive to move away from them and go homegrown from that side. So the French government itself, they said they have 2.5 million civil servants that are going to be affected by this policy. So the French alone, 2.5 million. How many in Germany? How many in like we said in the story? Then we've got other countries there. How many millions are going to stop using U.S. big tech services? So if you look at it from a business standpoint, right? How much money is going to be lost by these companies by not being utilized by friendly nations out there? So interesting story that kind of hit the wire here earlier today as well. And let's bring it back here to the United States. And I didn't even know this was a possibility, to be honest with you. I just assumed this was already the case, and silly me, I guess. But we're going to go to the Small Business Administration right now. They have now announced in a note that they're barring green card holders and other non US citizens. You can't even apply for loans from the agency's main lending program out there for your businesses. It's going to start on March 1st. Only U.S. citizens or nationals who have their chief residence in the U.S. or legal territories will be eligible to borrow money under that 7A program that they use. That's the main loan program there. So you wanted to look a little bit more detailed into this. So if I'm the president of the company, just throw me out there. I'm a legal citizen, obviously. Probably. And I should say probably, right, in today's day and age. But let's say I'm an owner of a company, but I've got somebody that has 5% or 10% of the company also as ownership. Can we still qualify for it? Well, here's the wording that they use. SBA is requiring that 100% of all direct and or indirect owners of a small business applicant be U.S. citizens or U.S. nationals who have their principal residence in the United States, territories, or possessions. Everybody in an executive role or ownership, according to the SBA moving forward, has to be, in that category of principal residence, territory possessions, and be a U.S. citizen moving forward. So they've really moved this on there. So then it begs the question, what was the old policy? I don't know why. I just assumed that was the case, but I've never looked for an SBA loan. So what's the previous one? Well, the previous SBA notice was released in December of 2025. They said up to 5% of a small business could be owned by foreign nationals or legal permanent residents to legally qualify for a loan. So they went from the 5% being able to qualify to 0% can be, other nationals qualifying for that SBA loan out there. So pay attention to that if that's something that you're interested in or you do qualify for there with your small business out there. Big change here in that as well. And we talk a lot about home ownership here, and today's not going to be any different out there. I was reading a story right before the show on how many people own homes with the high interest rates. Not the interest rates of today of the mid sixes. We're talking 8-9% interest rates on their houses because they bought in the last couple of years. Fascinating story to read there, and we'll get into that here over the next few days. But there is a poll out there now from the National Association of Realtors, and they put this poll out specifically, and it showed that over half of voters, 52%, because we have the midterms coming up this year, 52% say that the affordability of housing is a very important voting issue to them going into the voting booth coming up here in the fall. The poll shows that just 17% of voters think now is a good time to buy a home. Do you want to go back to 10 years ago or 13 years ago? Let's go back to 2013. 69% just in 2013 thought it was a good time to buy a home. So 13 years and it's gone down to 17%. Obviously, there's a lot of issues with housing affordability right now, mortgages, the cost of homes and everything. But home ownership, even though there's all those issues, home ownership remains a key part of what voters view as the American dream. 85% still call it an essential part of the American dream. By the way, you want to go back to those 2013 numbers to compare it? 79% then said it was essential to that American dream. That number has increased as it's become less affordable for people to hit. Strong support on that, by the way, across all political groups as well. It's not that Democrats view it as bad or anything. Strong support there across every political group. Renters and other non-homeowners express concerns that never being able to afford home ownership. They're just like, I'm going to rent forever here. 76% of that specific group of renters express a belief that they will never be able to afford buying a home. 59% of that group saying that they would want to buy, but lack affordable options within the community that they live or want to live. These are big numbers, folks. In contrast, only 27% of all voters were concerned about never being able to afford a home, and only 21% cited a lack of affordable options in their communities as a barrier. Those are probably people that already own homes out there. But they did ask homeowners specific stuff, not just the renters and people looking at houses in the future. Homeowners in this survey were asked about reasons they are keeping them from moving. 35% say their current mortgage rate is low. They can't afford a higher mortgage rate if they were to move. And then additionally, 30% said they would like to buy another home, but they lack affordable options within the area that they live. I was talking about this yesterday. I know somebody that lives in a community and they bought a house early 2000s for about $300,000. That house now today is like 800,000. And I go, would you buy that house today? And he goes, not for 800,000, I wouldn't. It's a dump. That's how he phrased it. But yeah, it's amazing the difference out there, right? 16% though of the homeowners did say they would like to sell, but they can't afford the taxes from the profit on the sale to do that as well. So it's hard to downgrade today when everything's gonna go up, right? If you need to shrink down as you're becoming an empty nester or anything to that effect. So interesting numbers out there, but that poll right there tells you that home ownership is still a big deal to people. And it's going to be on their minds when they go to the voting booths coming up here for the midterm elections this year. Hey, how much do you like your company? This is my question for you. Do you like it enough to always have to be there? Even if you travel, you always have to go there and eat there? Yeah, Cracker Barrel has come out, and this is leaked into the news. Cracker Barrel has issued a strict new dining rule for its employees that do have to travel, and they go on the road for work. Yes. They can only eat at Cracker Barrel restaurants. Yes, this was an internal message that was obtained by the Wall Street Journal. This was a fascinating read because I can imagine every employee going, I'm going to get tired of the place. Cracker Barrel said employees were expected to eat at restaurants for, quote, all or the majority of meals when traveling. And they said whenever it's practical or depending on their location and schedule. Obviously, they're not supposed to starve if there's no Cracker Barrel near them, etc. They also said employees will no longer be reimbursed for alcohol purchases made during their business trips as well. So do you like your company enough that every time you have to travel for business, you have to eat at the restaurant? Like people that are waiters at restaurants don't eat there every day because you get tired of it. Fascinating deal. They're trying to, hey, we got built-in people that have to eat at our restaurants to make more money because Cracker Barrel still hasn't recovered from that fiasco last year with their logo and everything. Their sales are still struggling. So it's kind of an artificial way to get those sales up, right? Moving forward, I would argue you would go to the competition to see what employees are there, how they're working. But Cracker Barrel, they want the money even of their own people out there. And when we come back here at McCollum on Business, well, we got a lot of stuff coming your way. A lot of local stuff. We'll go down to Tucson with Raytheon. Ooh-wee, big government contract there that they're going to be working through in terms of production. We're going to look at Eli Lilly. We're going to look at Chipotle, speaking of lunchtime. Then we're going to look at Super Microcomputer as well as the stocks we're paying attention to. We'll get an update on the sell-off that's happening today. So come on back, folks. McCollum on Business. back here at McCollum on Business Wednesday edition. We're just a couple days away from the next episode of The Real Matrix out there. Of course, comes out on Fridays, 10 a.m. here at Robat TV. We're working on the other distribution side of things in terms of the YouTube page. Some issues there. We got something coming. We're going to be announcing it here, hopefully, here in the next couple days. Of course, it has a free podcast as well at The Real Matrix on all your favorite podcasting systems, Google, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, all of them out there. If you want to rather listen to it than see it. The Angry Patriot just wishes that you come into his show with an open mind as he kind of shows you what's really happening out there in the world on a variety of topics as well. 9/11, I know the polio and those shows that recently came out, the polio ones, and measles, etc. So check it out there if you'd like. Here at Robat TV, Fridays at 10 o'clock, noon on everything else out there as well. Of course, the main event is in the can for today. Tomorrow, Thursday, we have Uncle Luke coming in at 9 o'clock, UFC, Super Bowl coming up this week. We'll be talking props and that fun stuff as well with him. Definitely don't miss that. Of course, at TME Sports Show is where you can find the free podcast system, the YouTube page as well. For our media company, that for all of our production stuff we do here that we're responsible for out there. Like and subscribe to the YouTube page and the free podcast, if you will, and of course catch the shows here on the YouTube or here at Robat TV. Is those are up available for you on demand right now. As soon as we get done with this show, on demand as well on YouTube, as well as here as Robat TV. And then the pit stop. Today is the day of the Clash. Couple days delay. The 2026 NASCAR season is officially going to be underway today. They do a bunch of stuff throughout the day in terms of heat races, etc. Race starts at 4 p.m. our time from North Carolina. Later on, there is bad weather in the forecast, rain, snow still, but they do have wet tires. We'll see if that goes. But follow me at the Pit Stop Talk on social media on X there, as well as free podcast for that show at the Pit Stop Talk as well on all your favorite podcasting systems, the YouTube page. New shows starting up. Next week is when new shows will be hitting here for this 2026 race season. So get on board and follow us on X as well. Even if you're not a racing fan and you support us here, we appreciate that. Just hit the follow there to help us get that up, as we haven't done a great job of promoting that in the last year. Like to get that up a little bit more this year. And I'll be on that X site all afternoon watching the Clash later on today. So join me there, would you? I'd appreciate that. Not a lot of other stuff's going on here in the sports world as we wait for the Super Bowl this weekend coming up. But I appreciate all of that and you guys supporting us here. And let's get right back into that Market Watch. We told you earlier, tech stocks, chip stocks, all affecting the markets today, specifically S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Now, Dow Jones is taking a turn, though, here during our show. It's up 3 points right now. It's up to the 49,262, so that's turned positive as the day has gone on. The S&P 500, though, has not. We talked about that there in that first Stocks We're Watching segment. 44 points down right now for the S&P 500. NASDAQ is getting better. It was 500 points down at the beginning of the show. It's down 410 points right now to 22,845. You see there the small cap index, the Russell 2K, down the 43 points right now. And then Bitcoin, now it's improving today. It was 72,000 when we looked at it last time. But folks, this is in a very dangerous range here in terms of these large investors who are buying this stock at $80, $90, $100,000. 73,176 for Bitcoin here right now, trading here on this Wednesday. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. The first one, Supermicro Computer. We'll keep it rolling with these computer ones as well. And now this isn't chips, this is servers out there. And Supermicro Computer, well, 9.27% up here today. And it's based off of their strong demand for their AI-optimized servers. Well, that strong demand helped their fiscal second quarter results, and it topped expectations. And even then, Supermicro Computer actually raised its annual revenue forecast as well. Supermicro earned 69 cents per share. Blew away the number there of the estimate. The estimate was 49 cents per share, so 20 cents improvement for them as well. Their revenue even blew away their estimation number as well. Their revenue was $12.68 billion. The estimate was 10.23 billion. Huge numbers here for super microcomputer and specifically those AI optimized servers that they do produce out there. They did anticipate fiscal 2026 revenue will be at least $40 billion. The estimate for that was $36.09 billion on the estimate side. So, all in all, of course, the market very happy with those numbers, and it's up 9% right now. It was up about 11% earlier today. So, a little bit of a coming back down party, but still up big today with those outstanding numbers from Super Micro Computer. Next up, it's lunchtime. Maybe you'll go to Chipotle today. I do eat there more than I care to admit. Right now, at least, it's up 0.71% right now for Chipotle out there. It's been up, it's been down, as you see with the graph there and everything. They reported earnings and revenue that actually beat fourth quarter reports on when they reported yesterday. Chipotle's problem isn't revenue. Chipotle's problem isn't earnings per share. Chipotle's problem is their future right now. They've always had falling traffic, and their same store sales have always been flat or been flat a lot lately. Let's put it that way. The growth is the issue for Chipotle, even though they hit their numbers, and that's still the case today. They reported more falling traffic, and they projected it flat for same store sales growth in 2026 as a whole. That obviously is negative in the eyes of investors because how do you grow when you don't improve people walking into your store and people buying stuff there? So that's what's weighing down on Chipotle. So much so that I went back after they reported yesterday. And it's weird because they beat earnings and they beat revenue, but then they're just constantly saying everything's going to come back normal. We're not going to have any big growth out there. I didn't realize this. Chipotle's stock as a whole for the past year, yeah, it's down 34% in the past year. That same store sales prediction and falling traffic is what's weighing down this Chipotle stock right now moving forward. And then finally, we're going to look at Eli Lilly out there. You know them, drug maker. 8.82% up here as well. They posted higher than expected results on its top and bottom lines for their fourth quarter. Yeah, so blew away their numbers. Obviously, everybody's happy about that. But they also issued full year guidance for non-GAAP earnings. Yeah, they say it's going to come in at $33.50, anywhere between that and $35 per share. That does top the consensus estimate, which was only at $33.04. So the estimate covers that, or their new number covers that estimated amount. It's also forecasting revenue of $80 to $83 billion by the end of this year, 2026. Analysts only expecting $77.64 billion. So they're blowing away their numbers now. They're blowing away their numbers, or in at least anticipation moving forward. And it's based off of their GLP-1 drugs. They're selling at astronomical rates right now, and they're making profits off of them. And that's the big part here of Eli Lilly and their announcements yesterday for that company. So we're waiting for Alphabet later on today for their numbers. We know Amazon is tomorrow as well. Those will affect the markets as well out there. And bad private payrolls report, or at least a soft one, affecting the market along with everything else out there. And let's get away from that bad news. Let's get some good ones here, especially if you work down there in Tucson for Raytheon. Raytheon is a company and a unit or a subsidiary there of RTX, which is based out of Virginia. But Raytheon's down there in Tucson. Well, they've reached a 7-year deal, folks, and it's a big one, with the Pentagon. They're going to boost production of Tomahawks, air-to-air missiles, and ballistic missile interceptors. Officially here, they announced all this yesterday. The Pentagon's push to expand production is there because the Trump administration in Washington wants to rebuild the depleted, the often used, right, weapons stockpiles out there. Not just using them, but we've sold them to a lot of countries as well. The Raytheon deal does aim to increase annual production of Tomahawk cruise missiles. The current rate, about 60 per year is what they make for the U.S. Well, they want to get up to 1,000 units per year here in the U.S. That's for U.S. consumption only, by the way. The sea-launched Tomahawk, well, it's a mainstay of the Navy's surface fleet. It provides long-range precision strike capability against land targets. It does ship. That's the one that comes out of ships and submarines, if you're wondering, the big one there. But then they also make ones for the AMRAAM air-to-air missiles. They're going to rise to the production there is going to rise up to 1,900, according to Raytheon in this statement as well. So these are big increased numbers here for Raytheon down there. Air Force and Navy use those AMRAAM services, and it's the primary beyond visual range air-to-air combat missile used by the military out there. Then you got the SM-3 Block 1B and the SM-3 Block 2A, the ballistic missile interceptors. Those are the ones that shoot up and intercept missiles coming at you. Well, they're gonna production on that's gonna grow up as well. 2 to 4 times current output is kind of what the reporting is right now. So the SM-6 interceptor production that's going to grow to over 500. Right now, it's at 125 per year for that interceptor missile. So big. Now, it's not that they're just improving it, doubling, tripling, 3, 4 times the amount that they're currently building on these missiles as of right now. So good news here for Raytheon down there in Tucson. And year's been over and we're finished up with January, and we finally have Phoenix Sky Harbor passenger numbers here for 2025 for specific airlines. And well, if you're a low-cost airline, not a shocker. We know they were struggling last year. The low-cost airlines took the biggest hit here. Spirit Airlines experienced a 62.3% drop in people flying on them out of Sky Harbor. By the way, that 62.3% equates to 228,000 fewer passengers for Spirit Airlines. Don't forget that bankruptcy and stuff's probably keeping people away from them. Frontier Airlines, well, they saw a 15.3% reduction at Sky Harbor. That equates to 417,482 fewer passengers. Among the major carriers, those are the discounted carriers. So the major carriers, we're talking Delta, American, United, etc. Well, Delta Airlines fell 2.5%. American Airlines dropped 1.3% here at Sky Harbor as well. So interesting enough, international carriers, huge dips for them, very significant ones. Air Canada was down 11%. WestJet, which also is a Canadian airline, was down 8% as well. They get our Canadian, and we know international travel's been down on people coming here to the United States. And the airline Volaris, well, it was down 14% also here at Sky Harbor. There was one bright spot, though. Everything was pretty much down in terms of passenger counts for these airlines. Now, we know Alaska Airlines and Hawaiian Airlines merged. So I don't know. I couldn't figure out how much of this was because of the merger, but Alaska Airlines grew. They actually add 146,970 passengers, which was a 9.3% increase in 2025. So a big bright spot there for Alaska Airlines, and everybody else, though, a little bit of a drop there here in terms of travel in that airline industry as well. So good news if you're in the Tempe area, and I used to love eating at this place. And so I'm kind of excited. Not that I would go there all the time now. It's kind of a little bit out of my way, but there's a big unexpected, obviously. Winter kitchen fire is ever expected, but there's an unexpected kitchen fire in October of 2024, and it's been closed ever since as they've been rebuilding it. U.S. Egg there in Tempe, well, it's been completely renovated. It's got brand new equipment in it, the refreshed dining room, and there in Tempe. It's been a big breakfast, always busy, has a patio, and always busy when you go there, especially on a weekend. U.S. Egg is a family-owned business here in Arizona, and this Tempe location has been there the longest as well. And if you've been there, you recognize the building that we're showing you where they are at. So we get all this information from the U.S. Egg website out there. They say, quote, "The bright blue booths are polished, the coffee's brewing, and the griddles are hot." A U.S. Egg is turning 40 years old there in Tempe location. It's officially reopened now after that kitchen fire, and gosh, year and a half rebuild there to get that back up and open after that kitchen fire. So just I know there's other locations out there of U.S. Egg. They are a local company, but that Tempe location has been there forever, it feels like, as long as I can remember. And I just wanted to pass some good vibes along to everybody out there. And look, this story started because of a tracksuit. Track spelled Trak. And then I found myself going down a rabbit hole of how much gear Amtrak actually can sell you. Yeah. So we're gonna have to go back a little bit. You've missed the opportunity to buy this. I know Amtrak's not a big thing here in Arizona. It is more on the East Coast, etc. But might be something you're interested in. Now you'd have to go to the secondary market. But Amtrak launched a limited edition tracksuit, as I said, TRAK. They launched it on January 29th. It's a two-piece tracksuit. It was available only through February 2nd. So it's no longer available per. Don't run to Amtrak to try to buy it. You have to go to eBay or something like that. A lot of attention online with these suits, with the way they look. A lot of positive views, a lot of negative views, like everything else. But it's a tracksuit. It featured a hooded sweatshirt and matching pants. It was made with white microfiber fleece, sporting customized embroidered logos. The sweatshirt features a detachable sleep mask built into the hoodie, which is ideal for travelers. Amtrak has not confirmed that the tracksuits will be available again for purchase. And my thing is I don't know. Would you sleep on a train? Oof, oof. I don't know. The tracksuit costs $279 also, folks. A lot of people complained about the price of it moving forward as well. And then what? So that started me off there. And I was like, Amtrak, like, is this like a gimmick like all these stores are doing? No. Amtrak has its own apparel store. It offers a variety of apparel options, not just for kids, but adults out there. T-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, socks. They even have a giant puffer jacket I saw on their website. They have toys, which would actually have a very popular plush there that I've seen places when I was looking on the website. You can get coffee mugs, pins, sleep masks. You can go to Amtrak merchandise store for all of that stuff out there. But I was shocked Amtrak sells so much merchandise out there. And now they are trying the tracksuit. Now, if it was successful, it'll come back, right? You would think so. But where did we get this tracksuit from? This actually is an interesting story. The tracksuit was created by a New York School of Design student out there. Last fall, Amtrak actually partnered with 7 of the design school students to interpret Amtrak's new next-gen Acola train, I don't know how to pronounce it, into an iconic and timeless tracksuit. Yes, the tracksuits were introduced to the public during the 2025 Fall Fashion Week over in New York City. And now, this first one up for sale right now. So then it's like, okay, so then what's this train? Like, this is the rabbit hole you go down. The train was introduced in August of 2025. It's the next gen. I'm just going to call it the Acola, ACELA. It's an all-new train that runs from Washington, D.C. to New York, goes up to Boston, and obviously it has stops in between there. The train features updated seating. It's basically a modernized train, higher top speed, new amenities, things that you need today, reading lights, power at every seat, 5G Wi-Fi, things that everybody wants today as well, including new updated restrooms. This next-gen Acola seat also seats 80 more passengers per set than the first generation version of this train. As of August 25, the 5 next-gen trains were in service. Amtrak is adding 1 or 2 more each month until 2027 as well. And they're kind of getting it out there, getting with design students and getting these tracksuits out there. And what companies do, it kind of amazes me out there, folks. And hey, we made it through this Wednesday edition. Appreciate you joining me, whether it be live here at Robot TV or on demand, either on the YouTube or Robot TV as well. We appreciate it very much. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. here for the main event. Of course, the McCollum on Business gets underway at 11 o'clock here tomorrow on Thursday. Come and join us, would you? We'll get you updated on all of the business world out there. Till then, have a great Wednesday night.